All right. Today, we are peeling back the cover on one of the most mysterious and honestly influential horror texts ever written. And this is a strange one because it's a book that's less about what's on the page and more about what crawls off it and right into your mind.
So let's start with this weird, kind of beautiful poem. This is actually from a fictional play that's at the very heart of the book we're talking about, a collection of stories from way back in 1895 by a guy named Robert W. Chambers. And these words, they're our first little peek into a strange, lost world. Really, they're our gateway into the madness.
Which brings us to the big question, right? What exactly is The King in Yellow? Because here's the twist, it's not just the title of the book. Nope, it's the name of a cursed play at the center of that book. And that play, well, it's something way, way more dangerous than just a bunch of stories.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to talk about that cursed play I just mentioned, the one the book is named after. The best way to think about it is it's like a piece of art so powerful, so dangerous, that it literally rewrites reality for anyone who experiences it.
So here's the basic idea. All the characters in these stories are completely haunted by this forbidden play. Now, the first act, apparently it's beautiful, totally normal. But the second act? Oh, the second act is something else entirely. It contains a truth so terrible that it just shatters the human mind.
Yeah, it's basically a psychic virus. That's the perfect way to put it. Once you've read it, there's no going back. You can't unread it. The idea is just they take root in your brain and then they start to spread, person to person, like a full-blown epidemic of cosmic dread. Okay, so it starts with this one cursed play, but how does that turn into a whole mythology? Well, that's where things get really interesting, because Chambers starts building this terrifying, fragmented world, one that hints at a much bigger, much more horrifying reality that's just right outside our field of vision. Throughout the first few stories, Chambers just keeps dropping these little breadcrumbs, these strange recurring names and symbols. You've got the yellow sign, the pallid mask, the lost city of Carcosa, Hastur, and here's the genius part. He never actually explains what any of them are. That's what makes it so creepy. They're just these little puzzle pieces of some alien world we were never supposed to know about. And this is the real secret sauce to the horror. The stories are set in these totally normal, recognizable places, right? Like 1920s New York or artist studios in Paris. But then, bam, you get these sudden, horrifying intrusions from that other world. Lost Carcosa bleeds into New York. It's that clash between the mundane and the monstrous that's so unsettling. So just when you think you've got a handle on what this book is all about, Chambers pulls this amazing structural trick on you. It's a move that's designed to be just as unsettling as the stories themselves. It actually makes the act of reading the book feel disorienting. I mean, look at this. The book literally has a split personality. The first half, 4 stories, is just soaked in this cosmic, mind-bending horror we've been talking about. And then all of a sudden, it just stops. The book shifts gears completely into these Parisian romance stories and simple ghost tales. The whole King in Yellow mythology, poof, gone. So in that first half, you get stuff like this incredibly grotesque, skin-crawling dread from the story The Yellow Sign. It's just visceral and nauseating. It really gets under your skin. And then boom, you turn the page and suddenly you're reading these charming little historical romances. And that jarring shift, that's what's so brilliant and insidious about it. He pulls the rug right out from under you. By building up this terrifying mythology and then just abandoning it, the book itself starts to feel unstable, unreliable. It makes you, the reader, start to question what you're reading, and you start to feel like maybe, just maybe, you're losing your grip too, just like the characters. So how does he make all this weirdness so effective? Well, he doesn't just tell us that people are going mad. No, he does something much smarter. He immerses us in it, using a classic, masterful literary technique. See, he tells these stories through the eyes of narrators who are, well, they're losing it. Their grip on reality is dissolving right there on the page. And by putting us directly inside their heads, he makes us question everything. Is any of this really happening? Or are we just reading the diary of a completely shattered mind? A perfect example is the very first story, The Repairer of Reputations. We literally follow the main character step by step on his journey into delusion.
It starts with a simple fall from a horse, a head injury. Then, while he's recovering, someone gives him a copy of The King in Yellow to read. And from there, his entire perception of the world gets warped until he's convinced he's the last king of an American dynasty.
And this is what's so chilling about it. To him, this isn't madness. It's not a loss. It's a triumph. It's him finally waking up to the truth. He has completely embraced the world of the play as his new, glorious reality. And as you can see from this quote, he's absolutely thrilled about it.
So why does any of this matter? Why are we still talking about this weird, kind of disjointed collection of stories from over a century ago? Simple, because its legacy, its influence, it is one of the most important in the entire history of horror. This book basically invented a new kind of horror. It's not about a monster hiding in the closet. The true horror, the book's greatest legacy, is the idea that knowledge itself can destroy you. That there are truths out there so alien, so profound, that just knowing them will break your mind. It's horror not of monsters, but of dangerous ideas. And you can trace the spread of this psychic virus through pop culture. It starts with Chambers in 1895. Then the legendary H.P. Lovecraft reads it, loves it, and weaves things like Hastur and Carcosa right into his own Cthulhu mythos. And that influence just keeps echoing, all the way to 2014, when the Yellow King and Carcosa became the central, terrifying mystery of the first season of HBO's True Detective. In the end, I think the reason this all endures is because these little fragments, these whispers of Carcosa and black stars, they're just so evocative and so creepy. They're not fully explained, they're just symbols and hints, and that makes them impossible for other creators, and for us, to ever really get out of our heads. So let's just recap. The central idea here is a play that drives anyone who reads it completely insane. And we've just spent the last few minutes exploring all of its cursed ideas. Which kind of leaves us with one final, slightly worrying question to think about, doesn't it?